Howdy peeps, so as promised I'm doing the part 2 of this. I hope you all got the message, notification. You know what, I'm so, I'm like a dinosaur when it comes to this sort of thing. Anyway, this whole article merits the part 2 of the video, which I wasn't even going to bother doing. I kind of got got caught short previously. So, anyway, I read some more of this whilst I was at work, and you know what? I just couldn't. I can't help but laugh, and there's a reason for it, right? Other than a sick sense of humour, perhaps, right? According to some, it might well be. So I just want to find the last bit that I kind of got to. Okay, so I'll go from this bit. Today's incels are not a clearly defined organised group, but rather a sprawling, that's right, no, I did read this bit, disparate community of men across a network of blogs, forums, websites, private members groups, chat rooms and social media channels. Several of the forums have memberships in the tens of thousands, with around a 25% increase in membership in the 2 years I have been researching them. And I had some other thoughts on this whole, when someone's researching and they're not going in with the best intentions. It's like, you know, if you've got it in for someone and you're trying to get some dirt to throw at them, you're not investigating them. You're looking for dirt to throw at them. I'm just saying, but you know, just saying for what it is. But we'll call it research, right? As well, just to throw people off the sort of scent of any, oh yeah, this one's out to cause a problem. Just saying, right? And these figures don't take into account the number of people visiting and being influenced by these sites without necessarily signing up. I'm going to save my comments for later on. Incels subscribe to a transnational ideology characterised by white male supremacy, oppression of women, and glorification and encouragement of male violence. Alright, if that's what she thinks. Seeing themselves as perpetual victims oppressed by a feminist gynocracy. I did cover this bit yesterday. They believe that sex is their inherent birthright as men, and that rape and murder are appropriate punishments for a society they perceive as withholding sex from them. The transformation of Alana's benign self-help community to today's extremist ideology is in part a result of the environment in which those forums were created. Okay, and I'll say this, where are the parents at? Where are the parents at? Where are the parents of these air quotes incels, right? Don't give a fuck. The same parents that didn't give a fuck from the day they were born. They just let them just get on with it, and just, oh, we'll find them these activities that they can go to, or we'll buy them the latest PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, computer, right? Just anything to give them a bit of space away from their own flesh and blood, their own children, right? They won't talk about that side, because then it comes down to close to the truth, which they don't want us talking about, because it pisses them off for starters, and secondly, they know we're right. Even if only in parts, it's that being right thing that really pisses them off, I think. Anyway. Right, I want to skip all of that because I've already read it in yesterday's video. Oh no, I've just sort of done that sort of thing. More frequently, they seem misogynistic, yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. You cannot entirely separate incel extremism from everyday sexism that is rife in our society. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it. And if you're not going to find it, if it's not there to be found, you're going to find a way of finding it. This is what I think of this whole Laura Bates thing. I think she's just out to create a problem where there isn't one, for the sake of selling a story, convincing everyone that men are bad, incels are just fucking horrible and just dirty and should just be, you know, segregated away from society. It's sort of like, how can you think that is a way forward? Right. Anyway, let's carry on. Not everybody is in favour of forcing women into sexual slavery. Well, no, at least that is acknowledged. But a significant And it is that but a significant point. So scrap what she just said, right? Fuck it, all men. It's just all men, right? Just deal with it. You got a penis, it's your fault, right? Just saying. Everything's your fault. Because fuck you reasons. Anyway. But a significant portion of the British public believe that women are fully or partially to blame for their own rapes if they were drunk or flirting. Now the problem with this, and let's be real, right? There is such a thing as regret sex, right? Girl gets with a guy, then regrets it a bit later because then maybe and look, it is subjective to different scenarios. You know, I covered a video a couple of years ago about the girl that's accused two students in America of doing exactly that, and it didn't happen because she actually wanted to get with someone else, and she figured that if she had a sob story that the other guy would like her and like come to the rescue or some shit like that. And so, well, what happened there? Well, 2 innocent men's lives got ruined. Nothing really happened to her. And the other guy still wasn't interested. Good, rightly so. You know, you got women running around behaving like that, you need to keep as far away as them as possible, man. Can't think of a bigger red flag. Legit. Anyway. But then there's a whole regret thing later on, and it's sort of like, nah, come on, man. It's just if you can't be an adult, don't try and roll with the adults because you don't belong here. Then it goes on to say, these things are connected. I'm trying to figure out which bit she means. Drunk or flirting. Well, if they're getting that intoxicated that they can't control themselves, or they can't figure out how to get into a taxi with their friends and get themselves a fuck home, if there's a guy that they don't want, he keeps trying it on or whatever, if they're not in the right state to get home, then there's a problem. Actually, speaking of which, yesterday was Wednesday, where the women decided they were going to boycott all the pubs and clubs, you know, as a stand against the sort of like the liquids that get put in, or tablets, or whatever the fuck it is, that get put into women's drinks so that they can be then taken advantage of later. Yeah, they're not going to do that on a Saturday or a Friday night, are they? No, they're going to choose a Wednesday night. So the pubs aren't even going to notice it a great deal anyway. You know, especially after the whole lockdown thing, it's going to be like, oh really, you lot don't want to go to the pub? Fine, fuck it. What do they care? You know, this is what I mean about these activists, or air quotes activists. It's like they really haven't got a fucking clue how to do it. Anyway, time to trigger some people, because I noticed there's a little comment regarding my last cup. I thought, you know what, we can play this game. I've got a few things I can irritate people with, so we'll go with that one. Cause some little microaggressions going on. Right, these things are connected. The normalisation of low-level sexism as sexual harassment makes extremist misogyny seem more acceptable to young people when they happen across it. I'm like, what the fuck? What? Am I reading this wrong? The normalisation of low-level sexism and sexual harassment makes extremist misogyny seem more acceptable to young people when they happen across it online. Jesus Christ, Lord, does a dyslexic guy have to teach you how to write articles and then spell check it afterwards? Grammar check it? Is this where we're at? It's 2021, and she's got letters after her name and all that shit, so she's supposed to be way clever compared to someone like me, and it's like, come on man, I can formulate a sentence and then upload it properly. It's Jesus Christ. I know, I'm just picking holes in people now. I can't help it. It's like, if you're going to be a cunt to people, like, do it properly. At least have a level of professionalism where they won't catch you out if they're going to go into it like yours truly does. Just saying. I'm sure they can have you for foul language, bad attitude, wrong thinking. Yeah, I'll just look around for some fucks to give, and if I find any, I'll let them know. Anyway. Yeah, if they happen to cross it online, or happen to come across it online. Mainstream media speculation about whether #MeToo is a witch hunt, and headlines about henpecked husbands who snap and kill their partners to help legitimise even more extreme beliefs. Well, Me Too has turned out to be a bit of a witch hunt, and realistically speaking, they've only really gone for famous people, haven't they? I'm not saying that, you know, that they It just looks a bit wrong, doesn't it? If there's money involved, all of a sudden they're there, and it's like, oh yeah, they are, me too. It's like, oh right, because there's a shit ton of cash involved. Yeah, funny that. Not because of morals and ethics. No, money, of course, money. Everyone wants the dollar. Typical. Women just want the cash and prizes. Proof is in the pudding. Anywho, and yeah, the henpecked husbands who snap and kill their partners help to legitimise even more extreme beliefs. And again, look, a lot of time online, I've when you talk about like narcissism, personality disorder, right? One of the things I've noticed, the women are on it like Sonic, man. They're always like, oh yeah, he was a narcissist and he did this and he did that and he did the other. And it's like, look, I'm not going to take away the fact that is how a lot of people behave in terms of having a personality disorder. I won't take that away from the individual. At the same time, it's like, I wonder how actually legitimate they're being. I'm wondering if they're actually projecting the fuckery. Because I've seen women do this firsthand, right? I've seen them do it. They literally accused their other half of everything that they were doing. And when the truth eventually came out, it's like, you dirty bitch. Dirty in the sense of you weren't being truthful. Well, she wasn't being truthful, but you know what I mean. Horrible. They're just horrible, you know. But, you know, again, I will argue the toss also that, well, all these women see all these videos about narcissistic behaviour and can relate it to guys straight away because it suits the narrative. Plus, they get to play the victim. The women get to play the victim. And so they'll get either 101 white knights come to the rescue, simps, you know, just sort of saying. And for what? Because they weren't even being honest, you know. Anyway, let's carry on with this. It is easier to slip into the clutches of an online group portraying white men as the real oppressed victims of society when high-profile figures are contributing to the portrayal of feminists as a hate group bent on terrorising men. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong that, you know, you can't even have conversations with a lot of these feminists. It's like you can argue whether they're third or fourth wave. We don't care which wave, right? More to the point, we would rather they were on the waves heading away from us for the most part because they're nothing but trouble. They invite trouble. They bring trouble with them, whether it's their own personal psychological bullshit or whether, you know, it's just more... There's no room for conversation with these people. They will not have that conversation with men. And they do absolutely terrorise men. Do you know, and again, to look back at the roots of men going their own way, MGTOW, why it became a thing, is because the MRA, the actual men's rights activists, couldn't negotiate with feminists because they kept kowtowing and kept bending and, you know, submitting to every... And they were getting more and more, the women were getting more and more than what guys were getting out of it, in terms of air quotes equality. And whenever they spoke up, they got battered down. So it's like, well, what's the point of having a conversation? Who's going to want to talk to someone like that? You know, and where does that ever lead? If you've got, imagine, not even between the genders, if you've got two countries that they can't agree on something, where does that always lead? To war. To war, because there's no compromising and there's no backing down. Unfortunately, men a lot of the time will, you know, by today's standards, they do bow down. They do... This is a real wrong term to use, but they will take that knee, and I don't think it's right. They shouldn't be. This should be compromised, but like I said, you can't with these. Anyway. Extremists celebrate this kind of mainstream content as they believe it widens the Overton window of publicly acceptable discourse, thus making their own ideas appear more reasonable as a result. What she's done there is basically said, so like what I just did, like, well, it's not, you know, you never win. You're always, you know, sort of folding, as it were. If you're like in that situation of you're an MRA and you're trying to negotiate with a feminist, you know, no matter how reasonable you are, they just carry on attacking. The feminists do. And so, of course, with Laura saying something like this, Karen, sorry, my bad, with Karen saying something like this, it's just sort of like, it just disregards anything. And this is how she is portraying these air quotes groups. This is how she views them. This is not how they necessarily are. Let's carry on. We can count the numerous men who have been radicalised into incel ideology before committing mass killings. Here we go. Such as Elliot Rodger and Alec Minassian in North America. In the UK, Jake Davison, who shot 5 people dead in Plymouth, including his mother, shared misogynist views on incel forums. Have you ever had a bad day and just blamed all men for it? Is that not misandrist? But they won't. No, they'll be like, "Ooh, no, not me. Fuck off, you are. You hate men and you know it." That's what it comes down to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she just didn't get enough hair strokes from her dad as a kid. I don't know what the fucking problem is with these people, but fucking hell, man, they got something wrong with them. But we have no way of measuring how many have come into contact with this ideology before going on to murder a partner or rape a woman. Probably fucking none. Probably none. We can't quantify how many of the boys harassing, sexually assaulting and raping women and girls in UK schools have been influenced by inside ideology and other forms of misogynistic extremism. You know how I've spoken about, what is it, the fantasy that people live in. This is her fantasy. This is what goes on in her head. This is in the same sort of sense. Whereas I did a video many years ago, and one of the girls that I was with for a while, you know, talk about red flags. She used to watch a TV program, and she was convinced that every town had that one person that like murdered people in that town and like stuck them into the wall of the building. It's like, fuck me, are you actually insane? Yeah, she wasn't far from it, to be fair, but it's the exact same fucking thing as what we got going on here, you know. Incels may not be an organised group, but their online influence is far more widespread than we might like to think. If those at the most extreme end of the spectrum of radicalisation are carrying out massacres, it is not unrealistic to raise the concern that others may be carrying out smaller acts of violence and misogyny in their daily lives. Well, if they weren't subject to so much misandry, maybe they wouldn't be. I'm just sort of saying, if that's how that's how Karen is going to think about this one. And this is what I mean exactly about normies and not understanding the internet, right? Let's go for it, right? Air quotes. I enjoy walking behind women in the car parking garage in the parking garage after work, wrote one incel. On a forum I was investigating. Oh yeah, check me out, I was investigating. Fuck off, you were being trolled, right? The sheer terror gives me a massive erection. Now to guys, right, now that is actual comedy. That is just funny as fuck. Just the fact that it's written, not the actual act of it happening. No, just the fact that it's just banter. It's just shits and giggles. And look, like I said, we speak different languages. It might be the same air quotes dialect, but it's a different fucking language. But Karen's never going to understand that. Karen's going to expect to be able to go on stage as a comedian and expect guys to find her funny. Women aren't funny for the most part. That's a sad thing, especially female comedians. I mean, take a look at Kate Smurthwaite. I mean, no, don't do that. You'll regret it. Actually, fuck it, ignore that. I need to go. Hang on. There we go. I feel a bit better about that. Sorry guys, don't do that. Anyway, right, this is not just about how we respond when acts of mass violence occur. It's about whether we are prepared to continue to allow a movement dedicated to violent hatred to flourish in our society. So you're going to get rid of feminism then? Just curious. As long as we fail to recognise it as a form of extremism, women and girls' lives will continue to be affected. Perhaps in numbers far greater than we realise. And then this is where it ends. That's where it ends. That's where it stops, right? But not one single individual fuck has been given in all of that is to try and actually understand the point of view of an incel. Not one. Goes on to say, Laura Bates, aka aka Karen, is the founder of the Everyday Sexism Project and author of Men Who Hate Women. Well, what a fucking surprise that is. Of course she's the fucking author of a book that's called Men Who Hate Women. She should release the actual, in fact, I would say go as far as buying it, but fucking don't. It's about her and why she hates men. Guarantee it. I fucking guarantee it. I'll bet any money you like, it's all to do with who's done her wrong at some point in her life and why she fucking hates men as a result. Either that or blatantly brainwashed over the years due to the extremism, the other phenomena which we shall call feminism. Sorry, can't help it. And again, Everyday Sexism Project. I mean, I'm not even going to click the link to that shit because it's just sort of like, I know what it's going to be. Everything's going to be men's fault, and it's like, nothing's going to be women's fault. Zero accountability, nothing's la 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 la, we don't want to hear. And it's just sort of like, well, why would a woman of that sort of, air quotes, calibre want to even understand a guy's point of view? She doesn't give a fuck about men. She fucking hates them. She's got a book there that says, what's it called? Men Who Hate Women. Yeah, she wrote it. So chances are something going wrong with her noodle, probably hates men. Just saying. But I'm sure that could be, so, oh yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. It's all you've got. Is that all you've got? You're going to write a book about why you think men hate women. No, we'd like to know why you hate men so much and be a bit more honest about that one. Anyway, with that one, thoughts, comments and opinions, feel free to jump down as always. Thank you very much for subscribing. It's much appreciated. Hit the like button if you've liked it. Hit the dislike it if you didn't like it, and comments as always. You know the score. Anyway, one more sleep, fellas, and it's the weekend. Party on. Anyway, till the next one, stay cool, stay free, and peace out.